What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story.
Well, hello, and welcome to Get the Backstory Live. It is so good to see you. I am Michelle Pettis. I am your host for tonight, and I just want to thank you for joining the conversation tonight. The conversation tonight is going to be juicy, juicy, juicy. And every month, every third Wednesday of the month, we come to you with Backstory Live with inspiration. Right? This show is for you if you are on a wellness journey, if you are on a well-being journey, if you are on a weight loss journey, if you are on a life journey, if you are looking for transformation, if you're looking for change, if you got on the scale, if you looked in the mirror today, yesterday, last week and said enough, I've had enough, I'm ready to do something different, I'm ready to be different, I'm ready to think differently, then Get the Backstory is the place for you. Like I said, I'm your host, Michelle Pettis, and I do this show, and I have been doing this show for the past couple of years because of my own weight loss journey. In my lifetime, I have gained and lost over 700 pounds. That's right, a seven and two zeros. And I finally figured it out. I finally figured out, y'all, in 2019 how to lose weight and keep it off. I learned how to make the mental shifts to do it because this environment will tell you that it's all about the food, that it's all about working out, and I'm here to tell you those things are important. But before you can ever get the food right, before you can ever get the exercise right, you got to do, as my grandfather said, get your mind right. You got to get your thinking right. You got to get your belief right before your behavior will get right. Because guess what? Your body follows your brain. And so on Get the Backstory Live, we talk about all of that. We talk about how to get your thinking in order, get your brain in order, so that we can tackle this food addiction and obesity that is ravaging so many of us. But we do this show as a way of letting you know that there is hope. That's why I do it. That's why my guests are here. That's why they're excited to be here, to let you know that there is hope. Because I am telling you, after my struggle, from the time I was 20 until the time I was 60, to be in retirement, sort of, right? And figured it out and know that really my best years are ahead of me rather than behind me, and that yours can be there too. Yours can be ahead of you too. They can be. It's not too late. Now is the time for you to take action. And now is the time for me to introduce you to my fabulous, wonderful guest tonight. I am so And I hope if you're listening, I want you to get ready to pop your questions in the chat, because we're going to be here for an hour. We're going to be chopping it up because we are aligned. We are like minds in how we want to tackle this issue and this disease of obesity. We're like minds. We're on this mission. We're lockstep. We're lockstep in that. So without further ado, let me read about your guest. I'm gonna tease you a little bit, and then we're gonna bring her on camera. Whitney Wheeler was born in Saginaw, Michigan, and is now a resident of Springfield, Missouri. Whitney has an inspirational story of personal transformation and a passion for helping others. That's why we're here tonight, for passion and for transformation. If you're watching, if you're listening, put that in the chat. Transformation, passion. losing both her grandmother and her mother in their to obesity related health issues. She subsequently faced down her own mortality when tipping the scales at 543 pounds. Wait till you see her now. Fearing that she would be next, Whitney began her transformation. To date, Whitney has lost close to 300 pounds. 300 pounds, that's two people. Her weight loss journey is the foundation of her quest to save the world from obesity. It is also her weight loss journey that has catapulted her into the health and wellness industry as a successful entrepreneur. That's what I'm talking about. Whitney has always been a servant and leader for whatever community God has designated her to serve in. She is the true definition of perseverance and selflessness. When it's time to step up, whether it's a stage, podium, or a new challenge, Whitney strives for excellence. She is a devoted member of Eagle Heights Worship Center, where she serves under the leadership of Apostle Donald and Prophetess Brenda McClintock. Whitney is a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. That's blue and white, y'all. Whitney is the former chairperson of the Black Empowerment Network at T-Mobile Corp., Springfield, Missouri. Whitney is a brand ambassador for a variety of companies. She'll tell you more about that. Whitney is a certified life coach and has been able to provide motivation and strength and endearment to her clients and her 500,000 and counting followers across several social media platforms. Whitney is a role model, mentor, motivator, and a shining light in society. Whitney and her husband, Quentin, enjoy traveling and spending time with family. Whitney's favorite quote is, "With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are impossible." Let's welcome to Get the Backstory Live, Miss Whitney Wheeler. Let's clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, my sister.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm super excited to have this conversation and bring awareness to a topic that a lot of people don't have a lot of awareness about. So I'm
Yes.
super excited to be here and thank you. It's an honor to be a part of your platform tonight.
Oh, the honor is ours. And Whitney, I think you set me up. You set me up with what you just said. You said awareness.
Mhm.
That you started off. You came out the gate with that word. And when I think about that, I think about what me if the when the light bulb finally came on for me, and what I realized about my own self was that I was unconsciously eating too much of the wrong stuff for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
And when I just kind of like distilled my challenge into that statement, things kind of opened up. Because once I started working on consciousness and I started working on the reasons, that stuff on the end, the what I'm eating and the how much started to take care of itself. So can you talk about when your awareness happened? I know you mentioned, and my condolences that you lost your grandmother and your mom in their 40s, but can you talk about what happened as the lights started to come on for you and awareness started to happen for you?
Yes, absolutely. So, first and foremost, people don't look at obesity as a real issue, right? People kind of look at it as just a choice. Oh, you're eating too much. Stop eating this. You can lose weight. Start working out. You can lose weight. People don't realize the mental chains that come with, I'm talking to people who really struggle with obesity, right? And even though I lost my mother and grandmother, you would have thought losing them in their 40s at the hands of obesity would have been my wake up call. Now, their story did help open up the door that, hey, Whitney, this something's wrong here, right? We got to do better. But it wasn't until 2018 when I really got this awakening of what was really going on. I went to the hospital. I had a really bad headache. I was feeling blurry in my vision. My vision was blurred. And I remember going to the hospital. They did my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 282 over 190. So that right there is stroke level, right? So when I got to the doctor, got to the hospital, they started trying to run tests on me. We ruled out by simple things that it wasn't a stroke, okay? Now, mind you, my blood pressure still high. The doctor came in the room and said, well, it's not a stroke. However, you weigh in when you go to the emergency room. They said because you tapped the scale at 543, your weight exceeds our hospital equipment. So we're going to go ahead and send you home. I still had the same headache, same vision issues, blood pressure. They didn't offer me a medication or anything. They said because my weight exceeded their hospital equipment that I was no longer worthy to even be a patient, right? And
Oh,
so long, that was, oh, I was so upset. I tried to file grievances against the hospital because that you can't treat me like that, right? But the entire time I realized that it was actually a God thing. God needed me to see that I could no longer be rescued by a doctor. I had to do something because at the rate I was going, I was getting ready to die. I was getting ready to meet my mother and grandmother, and I wasn't even nowhere near 40 yet, right? That was that moment for me that I said, wait a minute, enough is enough. I don't even have a rescue plan anymore. The people that are paid to save lives gave up on me. So that's
mhm.
when I knew I had no other choice but to lean to him, right? Because at this time, the only physical thing that was able to save me was my spiritual life. I had to ask God. And now, mind you, I had been on my journey for a while. I had been trying to lose weight, listening to using my mother and grandmother's story. But that awareness for me, when death came knocking at my door, that's when I said, okay, Whitney, every time you decide to overeat, every time you decide to lean into this addiction, you are slowly committing suicide. I'm
Yes,
suicidal state, right? And
yes.
said, God, you're not a God of a second chance or a third chance, but another chance. If you show me what I need to do to come out of this coffin, I call it that state of coffin, right? If
Hmm.
you show me how to break free, I would tell the world. I just need the solution. I just need to know.
Hmm.
Clearly, I don't have the answers. Clearly, doing it
Right.
out of my strength didn't work, right? But once I began to lean into a higher power, once I began to realize that this walk ain't got nothing to do with how much food on my plate, it don't have nothing to do with that. This is a walk of mindset. This is a walk that you have to physically get sick and tired of being sick and tired and get out your own way. Know
Yes.
that you had all the answers, right, Michelle? If you
Right.
had all the answers, we wouldn't be in this state, right?
Right.
So once I began to lean into that, once I began to lean into all you're getting, get an understanding. Learn how your body really works. Quit doing the same keto plan every single day to lose the same 50 pounds. That's insanity, right? I
Yes.
have to realize I gotta do something to get to this place. So a lot of people don't even look at food addiction and stuff. So I that was my awareness moment, Michelle.
Oh, wow, wow. And I think we've got somebody that's weighing in on this. Carla Benningham is saying people think food is a nutritional issue. It's not. It's an unconscious, deeply emotional issue that dictates your lifestyle and your nutrition. Thank you, Carla, for that. That is you are on the right track. When I wrote my book is Leaving Large: The Stories of a Food Addict, and where I walk. I'm telling you, Whitney is so similar. Is that after after I started writing my book, and after I finished my book, and you're writing the back cover and you're writing all the promotional stuff. What bubbled up in my spirit, and I know God gave it to me, was that it's not about the food; it's about the story behind the food. And we all have these stories. Carla, you nailed it. Whether they're unconscious, but some of these stories are conscious. We have some conscious things going on. We have some unconscious things going on, and we also have subconscious things that are going on.
Mhm.
All of those are working in our mind, and the reality is that we when we gain weight, we gain it. We before we a pound ever shows up in our body, it shows up in our mind first. And
Mhm.
we have to lose it through the same portal through which we gain it. We got to lose it in our mind. We have to lose it in our mind, and that's the work. That's the work, and I love that you talked about um, leaning into your higher power,
Mhm.
right? And becoming a spiritual thing, because the same happened to me too. Like when I prayed God, when I prayed for understanding, because I kept saying I was the same weight. I would lose 30, gain 40, lose 40, gain 50, lose 50, gain 60. That's where my 700 pounds came from. And I was like you, I clearly didn't know. Like we didn't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we have to pray for understanding. And that was when the breakthrough. I'm like, God, help me. What questions? What do I need to know? And that's where the mental work comes in. So tell me this, if you can um, kind of track them, uh,
Mhm.
Whitney. What mental shifts did you start making?
Number one, I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of people don't look at the process, right? For me, it was a four-stage process. It was about deliverance first. Once I got delivered, I began to see the transformation. Once the transformation manifested, then it was a transition of my mind. Then I became an overcomer. But the thing is, in order for you to walk out of this box, in order for you to get to that next version of you, number one, you have to believe that it can happen. You have
Yes.
to have the proper expectations. The reason why I was so limited for years, the reason why I was trapped in this box, the reason why I would lose 50 pounds, 70 pounds, 100 pounds and gain it back is because I was literally trapped inside this box because I felt these were the cards I was dealt with. See, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people limit themselves from being able to go to that next version because you don't believe that it can manifest. I
Yes.
never once at 543 pounds did I picture myself at this size. And a lot of times, people think, okay, I'm 500 pounds, I want to be 200 pounds. And God had to deal with me on the stages of expectations. You
Mm-hmm.
can't believe for 300 pounds to be gone until you can see 100 pounds gone,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I had to develop my mind to be able to embrace every single part of my journey. I tell people I had three parts to my journey. Going from 543 to 400 pounds, that was a celebration, right? That was a miracle. I thank God for that. But it wasn't until I got to that place I was able to push to 300 pounds, right?
Yes. Yes.
And my appetite and my journey shifts with every stage you go through.
Mm-hmm.
So when and again, this is coming from a morbidly obese person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I went through at 543 pounds to get to 400 pounds isn't the same process that it took me to get to from 400 to 300, then from 300 to the
Mm-hmm.
200s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to trust that yeah, I had to trust the pivoting that was before me. You
Yes.
got to know when to shift, right? You
Yes.
got to know when it's time to change. Like you said, you lose the same 50 pounds because especially when you're dealing with food addiction, because I went to the classes, I was a part of Food Addicts and Recovery Anonymous. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a full-blown food addict, right?
Yes. Yeah.
My grandmother, she was a part of Overeaters in Recovery Anonymous. That's something people don't talk about or even recognize or realize is real. So I had to really get to a place where, okay, what it took, I was hooked to being convenient in my journey. So I would purposely follow food plans where I know it was like a yo-yo situation, right? I knew I could cut a couple carbs out and lean into my meats and I'll lose 50 pounds real quick. And I was still able to hold on to those comforts, those cheeses, and all of those good things I want. Instead of me really trying to embrace a healthy lifestyle, I wanted this walk to be as convenient as possible
Yeah.
to be able to lean into those addictions. It
Yes.
wasn't until I had to cut off everything. I had to cut off cheese. And that's weird. Like I'm addicted to cheese,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? so
Yes.
so many levels to it. Yes, go ahead.
So I want to talk to you about the addiction piece of it. I mean the and and so here's kind of part of my story that I want to share again because I feel like we're here. Um, I I really I wanted to lose weight, Whitney, ultimately, really, because I wanted to wear cuter clothes. Like when I didn't have like a health scare. Not really. I didn't have any of that. I was just I was tired of walking by Ann Taylor and not being able to wear anything I saw in the mirror in the window, right? And so it wasn't until I started to peel back the layers and really get into this that it became a health journey. That I realized that it was about saving my life and saving the lives of other people, right? But that's the space that I'm in now. I still want to wear cute clothes, but I know it's this we are dealing with a life or death issue. I mean, this disease robs people of their lives, right? This is that's some real stuff, and it gets camouflage because the food that we're addicted to is tied to pleasure. And so, because it's tied to pleasure, it's hard for people to process the fact that this pleasure is killing, is 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 killing us. And but the thing that a lot of people don't realize, and this is the trickery, right? Is that so much of this food is this processed stuff is designed to be addictive. You look at the research, some research will tell you that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. You start looking at the fat, that's addictive. You start looking at the salt, that's addictive. The flour, the gluten, it operates in your system in the same way. That is addictive. They formulated, the preservatives, the colors, the additives that we don't even know what they are wreak havoc on our bodies, and it makes us addicted to it, which changes our brain, which makes it a bigger issue than just trying it's no longer a weight loss issue, it's a brain issue.
Mm-hmm.
And people get caught in this cycle of defeat and failure because they don't even realize that they're fighting addiction.
Yes.
So I want you to like speak on that. But here, Adriana has a comment that I just want to share. I think Carla is right. Consciousness is about choices, unconscious desires, particularly the meaning of gratification. Food gratification needs to be made conscious. Then alternate choice and rethinking your identity becomes possible. What do you think, Whitney? Can you speak on that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So, those sometimes we can have desires and we don't even realize that we lean into those desires instead of, well, let me even back up to the addiction part of it, right? So, for me, like you, mine was a little bit different when it came. I knew I had the addiction of food, but I was battling with a stronghold of addiction, period, right? And I had to realize once I began to deal with the issues, the food became easier. Meaning, every time I was depressed, I went to food, right? When
Mm-hmm.
I was broken, I went to food. When I was
Mm-hmm.
happy, I went to food. When I was sad, and I literally had different meals to satisfy those quote unquote
Yes.
desires.
Yes.
And what I had to realize, the conscious part is being able to identify those triggers first. Okay. Once I began to no longer lean into the depression, and I don't mean that depression doesn't come, but I made a choice of how I want to lean into it. When I used to lean into those depressed moments, I knew what would make me quickly that instant gratification feel good, which was food. But once I began to back away from the table, Okay. And I began to really look at all of the issues that I was battling. Once I began to deal with the depression, deal with the unforgiveness, deal with that hurt of losing my mother, I didn't have a food issue anymore because it was those
Yes.
issues that was tied to the food. So as
Yes.
we began to go through this place of healing, as we began to really allow God, and I know I talk about God a lot because He's a big part of my journey. Once I began to go to Him first, the times when I would lean to the food, the bottles, the pills, all of this stuff, right? Once I began to go to Him first, and He began to unleash those coffins and I walked out of those situations, I realized, wow, I'm not depressed, so I'm not eating the McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have discovered that until I went on this journey of healing going through a total healing. And
Yes.
it's so funny how this image or this mountain of obesity that I like to call it presents itself. It presents itself as this huge big mountain when in reality it's a whole bunch of little stuff that just reflects to make it look bigger, right?
Yes. Yes.
And once you begin to recognize that, you're like, wait, this isn't as big of an issue. But obesity, I like to call it on a spiritual level. I tell people that obesity isn't a real strong man. See, depression is, but obesity isn't. Obesity is a leech. It connects itself to all of these other things, and then it continue to grow, grow, grow. But once you go through a healing process for real,
Yes.
once you really allow God to come in, you don't know what blessing is on the other side of your transformation.
Yes.
You don't know how much limitates you. You know how many limits you have. I couldn't travel at 5:43. Now I can travel. I couldn't walk at 5:43. Now I'm walking miles and stuff. And the more you begin to heal internally, you begin to get free from those addictions. Now addiction will still be there, but
Mm-hmm.
you learn how to deal with it. So you
Yes.
gotta lean into it, right? And
Yes.
that's the part that they don't teach you in the gym. That's the part
Yes.
the personal trainer can't teach you.
Right.
Because if you ain't never walked that walk, Michelle, they
Mm-hmm.
can't feed that into us. Because this is not a I'm going to eat and work out and beat this thing. No, this is a mental thing. Once you get the mental chains broken, baby, you will transform your body.
Yes.
Come
Yes.
on.
That's it. Come on with it. Come on with it. Come on with. So I can I say I love everything about that. I love everything about that. So one of the things that we do that I do with my group, when we're coaching, is we look at that phrase emotional eating, emotional overeating, and what I teach, and it sounds like we're simpatico on this, is that let's just deal with the emotion. Let's if if we if we handle the emotion part, then it separates itself from the eating part. So if you don't feel depressed, if you don't feel stressed, if you don't feel angry, if you don't feel lonely, if you don't feel tired, if you don't feel exhausted, if you don't feel any of those things, or you know how to handle those things, then the desire to eat will leave you if you know how to uncouple it. But Whitney, here's the thing that I found is, and why I spend so much time on those emotions, is a lot of times people don't know how to identify the feeling. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know who makes them feel that way. They don't know what their thoughts are when they're feeling that way. They don't know where it shows up in their bodies. So we spend a week on each emotion, just to say, what does that feel like? What are you thinking when that happens? So that when it shows up, you'll be able to identify it and know that it's not hunger. Because right, we misidentify, and we think we're hungry and we're not, or we think hunger is the solution and it's not.
And it's not.
So yes, so being able to uncouple the emotion and deal with them and identify them. But what I love about what you said is, when you look at obesity, you see that it is a compilation of things that are happening on the inside that are manifesting themselves on the outside. And as we deal with each one of those things, a pound or an ounce at a time,
Mhm.
right? Then we'll see our body start to change. Right.
Yes.
So I just Love it. So kind of, so would you walk me through like a day in the life of Whitney Wheeler? So you get up and can you like share share your routine, but maybe even share what your routine is now versus what your routine might have been in the old days.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, before weight loss, I was very limited. So, at 543 pounds, I was on 11 different medications and I suffered from sciatica, DDD, pinched nerves, all at the same time, and deteriorating disc disease in my back. So, there was days where I had to physically roll out of the bed just to get out of the bed. I was bedbound at least 3 days out of the week. So it was just me laying in the bed, my husband bringing me food, all of that, right? But now I am a pretty busy person. I'm a social media influencer, brand ambassador and stuff. So I time block my day pretty well, but I keep my journey first. So I believe in commanding my morning. How you set your
Oh,
morning,
wait. Back up.
command it.
Back it up. I believe in commanding my morning.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, you gotta break that.
Atmosphere. You have to set the atmosphere of what you want to attract. And in my old version of me, it was always I woke up thinking about food and thinking about the pain in my body, the negativity. I didn't start my day off as if I owned it, right? So I'm really big on affirmations. Like in my book, I teach people how to pray and meditate and affirmations and all of that. That's important, how to start your morning off. And then my goal to bring awareness. Okay, that's my calling. That's my goal. That's my mission. That's my purpose. Is to help as many people as I can. So on a daily basis, I meet between individually with at least 7 to 10 people that I coach daily. So they come to me, that's Monday through Friday, and I walk them through that process of deliverance. Because that's what it really is for me. It's that deliverance part. And people
Mhm.
think about deliverance, they think about church, right? They go to the church thing with deliverance, but in reality, deliverance is nothing but the act of being rescued and set free. So
Yeah.
I make my daily mission. Who can I help get set free today? Right?
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
think deliverance come now after they seen the weight loss, but I got delivered when I was in my bathroom and when I left the hospital and I thought I
Mhm.
would die. That's
Mhm.
when I got delivered.
Right.
And then I began to realize that this transformation that I had, Michelle, it isn't for me. So the deliverance was for me. Getting set free was for me, but that the transformation is picking up your mat and walk. So my daily goal is to pick up my mat, which was that 543-pound person, and bring awareness. So the transformation is for the world to see. So
Yes.
once God take you through losing over 300 pounds, that's for you, your light to attract other people. So
Yes.
I'm not a gatekeeper. We're not gatekeepers, Michelle. This is a real life mission, regardless of the why. My
Yeah.
why was I wanted to live. Some people why is they want to wear booty shorts for the summertime.
Right.
Got a different why, right?
Yes.
But it might be a different battle, but it's the same war. So that's my daily walk. I make sure I wake up. I start my day with my affirmations. I'm working out. I'm meal prepping. I'm getting my mind prepared for what I want to deliver. Right.
Yes. Yes.
How I do it daily, and it's so different from that old version that who couldn't get out the bed, couldn't walk
Yes.
from the front door to the car.
Yes, yeah. I love that. Somebody, I mean, if you don't put this in the chat on the show tonight, command your day. If you're at home, write that down. Write that down because that's some juiciness. That is powerful. The things that we tell ourselves, the things that we write down, we make true in our life, right? And as soon as we start just calling on the small things, right? Just small things, celebrating the small things. Then those small things add up. Those small things add up to this transformation that Whitney was talking about. And I feel you so much on that, Whitney, because people will ask me, they'll say, will ask me, why did you write a book? What made you write a book? And I came to the realization that I wrote the book for my own self. right? It was for me. It was for me, right? My to uncover my own stories, and my stories, discovering them freed me, and people's own stories can free them as well. But I published it for other people.
Yeah.
I wrote it for me, but I published it. And this, right, this place that we are in now is for other people to see that it's possible, that it is possible. No, we're special for sure, but we're not that special, right? God loves us, but but we're not the only ones that He loves, right? So, and that if it's possible for us, it's possible for others as well, and to see that, to see that joy that actually exists on the other side. And that is that can you talk about that? Because when you're on the other side, you can't see it. All you can see is the stuff that you got to go through, that you don't think that you can go through, or that you think is going to be too hard. But then once you get through it, you're like, oh man.
Michelle, you hit it right, the nail on the head with that. And I tell my clients all the time, the things that I went through, everything that I had to go through to get to that point. I like my glass ceiling, my ceiling to be your foundation. God didn't bring us through all of that, for us to just hold it in, right? He wants glory out of your story. He wants glory out of that. So when we open up our mouth and share, sharing is caring. And people don't realize the more we give back, especially as being coaches, right? When we take on helping other people and we begin to pour out, we realize that, like you said, we're not special. I tell people all the time, God ain't limited to me or my household. He's not. If God has done it for me, you have to understand without a shadow of a doubt that He can do it for you. He's
Mm-hmm.
not a respecter of person, right? But when you get in the right atmosphere, sometimes you got to surround yourself with people who done been there, who've overcome. Not people that still on the same fight as you. They still losing the weight, gaining it back. Some days they in the gym. So no inconsistency. I'm talking about people who have actually had the overcoming spirit on them. Like, I have beat this, right? So that's what keeps us separate, because God uses us, and He used us because He chose us. Not because we were special, right? Because of that. But He also knew that He could trust us with the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
God knew that He knew that my mouth was big enough to go out and tell the world I used to be 543 pounds. Everybody can't do that, Michelle.
Yes.
Everybody not gonna post that before and after picture
Yes.
at their
Yes.
worst, right? But what God did for me, I can't hold it in. I want to bring that awareness because I remember what it was like to be broken. And
Yes.
I wish someone would have reached their hand out. See, I didn't have a Whitney Wheeler in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
had never met anyone who had lost over 300 pounds. I had never been in the atmosphere of someone who was on 11 different medications and now they're free from it. I had never been in the environment or atmosphere with someone who had a true overcoming calling over their life. So, God, I will fulfill that assignment. So send me to people who are hopeless. Send me to people who don't know that it's a way out. Send me
Yes.
to people so that we can show, because when two or more come together,
Mm-hmm.
what does the Bible say? One can do how many and two can do how many?
Mm-hmm.
So the more you begin to pour out, you keep it. The more when we wrote our books, yeah, the writing was for us. The story was our story. But now when we're passing that to other people, the glory is being duplicated, right?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is God's way of saying, wow, somebody can pick up your book and say, I now am ABCD pounds down.
Mm-hmm.
We lost 10,000 pounds last year. My group, just on Facebook alone, we lost 10,000 pounds. Had I never opened my mouth, if I wasn't that bold one that was willing to go in the trenches, Michelle, you're willing to go in the trenches. You bring awareness weekly. You're able to show what God has done and manifested in your life through this journey, right? This
Right.
journey opens up doors that no man can close. You're like,
Yes.
wow. And we
Right.
keep it because we give it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yeah. You hit the nail on the head, my sister. You did that. The doors open in ways that you don't even know, right? I cannot tell you the times when I've gone somewhere and I've spoken or I've done a workshop or somebody has purchased my book and they see me out and I remember the first time somebody walked up to me and said to me, I have never seen I have never I mean I still get chills thinking about it and what that meant when they say when I read your story, I see my story. When I read your story, I see myself. And I'm just like, yes, yes, it is so possible. It is so possible for you. And it is such good stuff. So here's what I want to talk to you about how you are how you're getting the word out about what you do and how you do it. I want to talk about your platforms. I don't want to wait to the end of the show and not have time to do it. I want people to know how to get in touch with you. If anything has resonated with you're watching, you're listening, and you want to get in touch with Whitney, we are all in this together, right?
Mhm.
We are all in this together, and I don't know about you, Whitney, but I feel like this. I I am here for the person I used to be,
Oh,
right?
I love that.
I
Yes.
am for the person that I used to be, and I want you to be able to connect with everybody that used to be you that wants to connect with you.
I love that. Absolutely. And I welcome people to come and follow my platforms because I do the live daily motivations. I have a fantastic coaching program that is specifically a 90-day program where you can enter in and I help you walk through that process of losing the weight. Some people lose up to 100 pounds with that in my program. But my main platform is Facebook. Whitney Shalon Franklin Wheeler on Facebook, and that's where I have about 400,000 followers on Facebook. That's where I do a lot of my posting. What's been real successful for me is not just what I've been able to do, but my first stop before I start helping people was helping my family. So I have like my husband, he's down almost 200 pounds since he's been a part of the journey. So I started off posting as the 1,000 pound couple. So I have my 1,000 pound couple page, and we also have a group if you're looking for a safe space, if you're looking for a place where you can be faceless with people that understand your walk with true other overcomers, you can definitely do that. It's private. It's only about less than 3,000 people in there, and we lost 10,000 pounds together from that group last year. So come and join that. Also, I am present on Instagram, big girl underscore working out. That's where I got started. I got a little over 100 and something thousand followers over there. But Instagram is where I got started. Instagram is when I started posting in 2012, and my platform began to really pick up back then because I wasn't afraid to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, especially during that time, it wasn't quite like it is now with social media. And it was a lot of people that was showing the before and after picture, but nobody was telling what it took, the cost, right?
Yes.
And I would follow these pages, Michelle, and I wanted so badly to mimic what they were doing. But the problem was people weren't being open, honest, and transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Facebook one day and I was just venting, like I'm tired of going to the gym. I had only lost 2 pounds that month and 400 pounds. You should have lost more than that, right? But I was just so frustrated. But when I got back on Facebook the next day, I made this. It was a status, I think, back then. I made it and I woke up the next day and I had a whole bunch of people in my inbox, of what we call it back then, just saying, thank you. I feel the same way. Thank you. I had a first lady, she said, "Oh my God, I can relate to you so much because I'm a first lady and I can't even stand up at church to pray for."
Mm, mm,
That's when I knew I need to continue to tell the story. And it was only on Instagram, but within the last year and a half, that's when my Facebook began to take off, and I began to share a lot of videos and stuff. So follow me on Instagram, Big Girl Working Out. TikTok is also Big Girl underscore Working Out, and then just my name, Whitney Shalon Franklin Wheeler on Facebook. I would love to have you a part of that community. It's room for everybody at the
Yeah.
top. We're all in this fight together, right? So we can all support one another, and we can all be a part of this amazing family of overcomers, that we're no longer stuck behind this wall, these chains of obesity, but we're doing something about it. We're bringing awareness, and we're showing the world that it can be done. So I would
Yes.
love to connect.
Yes, yes. And here we have a comment, a comment from a modern elder. This is a wonderful conversation, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of the conversation. Thank you for your comments. And then we had a comment before that from Wanda Watts, who said that this is a marvelous testimony, and it is a testimony. And what is that saying? You can't have a testimony without a test. So while in these last couple of minutes, let's talk a little bit about the tests, right? um the the challenges, because I mean, we're as addicts, we're always going to be addicts. We're always going to be walking a walk of recovery. So how do you what's your way of processing through that on a daily basis?
That is a great question. This is one of the biggest things that I teach in my coaching program, and I teach classes called Weight Loss and Deliverance. I teach that a couple times a week, and for me, I have to let people know that this fight doesn't have a finish line. I know people think you get to a certain number and you're here. No, that this is even when you get to this magical number that you've planted in your mind, the real progress comes in, or the real problem is maintaining it, right? So this is a daily walk. This is a daily walk. You have to continue to lean in every day, and you have to realize in life happens.
Mm-hmm.
I teach my clients, leave yesterday and yesterday. Leave the victories of yesterday and yesterday, as well as the mistakes in yesterday. You have to start over fresh every day. Every day is a new opportunity for you to get this thing right, right? And I tell them, if you build a life of, get consistent in your consistency, that's when you can get the real results, right? So you always want to build this life of consistency. Another tool I talk about in my book is getting up quick. A lot of times people don't want to acknowledge that the fall happens. Some days you may just want a burger from McDonald's, right? That doesn't mean you're a failure. That just means you can't let that one day of McDonald's turn into a week of McDonald's that make the scale go up. You have to master getting up quick. That's why every day is another day to get started. Get up quick. Get up quick. And then another thing that I have to remind myself daily is that we may bend, but we don't break.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about that, that's one of my favorite tools, because in this journey, it's so easy if the scale don't move for a couple weeks, or the inches haven't fall. Maybe something happened internally in your body. You can't go to the gym right now, right? You're going through this motion of life. You're not broken. I don't care if you took a month off your journey. Get up quick, get back on board, because you were bended for a state. But if you keep that in mind, that you're never broken, because broken things you throw away. You're
Yes.
not broken until you're dead. I don't care if you got to get up 50, 100 times. Keep getting up and remind yourself that you're not broken. And then the last one, the last tip that I like to hold on to in my daily walk is controlling the controllables. A lot of times life, so many different things will come at you, right? But when you're dealing in recovery, it's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That wisdom comes in controlling the controllable. This may not be your issue to deal with, so you're
Mm-hmm.
stressing yourself out, getting overwhelmed, eating over something that has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Control the things that you can control. Get up quick. Recognize that you're not broken. That's how you're able to gain that muscle to keep going on this fight.
Yes.
Gotta work that muscle.
Yes, it is a muscle. It is. Thank you for saying this, because we are developing a muscle. And I don't know if you found this out, figured this out, or this applied to you, Whitney. I feel like it probably did. That
Mhm.
once I figured out it was a muscle that we could develop, and I took the some similar principles and strategies, my own brand new principles and strategies, and applied them to my body and my weight loss and addiction. I was able to take those same principles and apply them to every other area of my life. And every other area of my life improved because of the muscle and because of the principles.
Yes, yes, 100. Yes.
100.
100%. I tell people all the time, I believe in weighing out your food. When you weigh and measure your food, you weigh and measure your life. Something about taking the pressure of food off your plate, everything else in life begin to line up. You got
Yes,
more time on your lunch hour because you packed your meal prepped your food, right? You ain't
yes,
saving money because now you're cooking more. It just it brings balance and awareness to every area.
yes, yes. In ways that you don't even know or realize until you get into it, right? It's like we didn't we don't know what you don't know. You don't. I used to, I used to, Whitney, when I in the old days, and I'd be out with friends or another group, and I'd be out I'd be out with what I used to call my skinny friends, and they'd start talking about, oh, I gained 3 pounds or I gained 5 pounds, right? And I would get heartless mad. I mean, I'd be so irritated. I'm like, I cannot believe, why are you talking to me about 3 pounds? But pass me the biscuits and shut up. I mean, that was kind of like, that's kind of, so, but but
Gotcha.
what I realize now that I didn't know then was that those extra pounds, those 3 or 5 pounds, they're a signal. They're telling you that you need pay attention. Something is going on. Pay attention now, because if you look at the 3 and you look at the 5, you can track it. You can say, oh, you know what, this has been going on with work, or this has been going on with my family, or this has been going on in the news. You're close enough to it to if you sit and rest with it, if you sit and think about it, if you meditate on it, you can figure out what got you to 3 or 5. You can correct it if you see it really quickly. But when you get to 50, right, it takes a you might remember 47, 47, 48, and 50, but those first 3 or 5, you don't even remember why you gained them. You don't know. And so now you got to go, but in order to lose them, you're going to have to remember. and
What
some
all
and that
happened?
and that happens in the plateaus. Sometimes you get stuck at a space because you got to get back to the place that there's some stuff up here that's still holding on around here that you gotta muscle through. You gotta muscle through it until you can release it up here. You can't really release it on your body. So I see you
Not
nodding your
just
head.
that too, and not just that too. On the positive side, when let's just say the natural plateaus and stuff come up, when you can go back and reflect on your successes, go back and look at those non-scale victories that'll hold you to during those moments when your body is readjusting or recognizing maybe it's not something you're doing wrong, it's just time to pivot. So
Yes.
you can go back and say, okay, well, this week I lost 10 pounds doing this. 3 weeks later, I haven't lost. What do I, Holy Spirit, how do I pivot through this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
agree with that 100%.
Yes, 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 yes. And so we've got a few more minutes. I want to talk about um what happens in the relapse.
Mm.
What happens in the relapse. And I am of the mind, Whitney, that relapsing is part of the journey,
Mhm.
and that sometimes it just means that there's some lessons we haven't learned. There's something that needs to be learned. And the only way to learn them is in the relapse. I mean, I found like some of my biggest lessons came in the relapse, right?
Mhm.
And and it's in that space that we really have to learn to be like gentle with ourselves and give ourselves some grace and have this really fundamental understanding that it's like part of the process. It's like babies don't come out the womb knowing how to walk. How many times do babies fall on their little diaper before they learn how to walk? But they keep getting up.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's all a part of the process. Like, this is what I tell people when it comes to a successful weight loss journey, it's about building the foundation. A lot of people want to build a mansion and they're building it without going through the foundation, right? When you are building a house, I be watching all of these shows, you got to go in and you got to go 6 levels deep in the ground to lay the foundation before you can even start to build the temple, right? As you're laying that foundation, you may have a day that's raining. You know what I'm saying? That you can't go in there and do all of that, right? Or whatever. So when it comes to those moments, you have to remember life is life, right? So you may have a day where you wake up and there's not a healthy thought in your mind. You can command your morning, do your affirmation. That boss made you so mad at work and you had a moment. Or I tell people the day that you didn't plan ahead. That was the thing for me when I fall. When every time I used to fall, that was a day that I didn't meal prep. I didn't do anything. Now I'm running late. I didn't go fill up a gas tank. Now I'm at McDonald's. I get to work. The coworker who never spoke to you, waiting for you this morning, talking about, oh my God, April Susan just brung you lunch today, right? Your boss never do nothing for the team, but this is the day that they want to treat everybody to pizza, the day that you didn't plan ahead. That happens.
Right.
And you have to recognize, and it goes back to that principle I said about leaving yesterday and yesterday. When you're going through a moment of relapse, right? Maybe your moment may last for a day. Your moment may last for a week. It might be a month. You may be in relapse for a year. But until they close that casket, the name of my book is Walking Out of the Coffin. Until they close that casket, you always have a time to come back and get it right. So you have to keep that winner's mindset. You have to have the mindset of a victor. You have to know, even in the midst of this, I know that I'm strong and I can come out of this, right? It may take a little longer, but when those moments do come, and they will come, it's all about how you lean into it. Are you going to allow this moment to destroy you? Are you going to allow this moment to rip you apart? Are you going to allow this moment to destroy all the progress you have made? Or are you going to say, you know what? Life happened. I get it. I messed up. But you got to look yourself in the mirror and you got to say, even in the midst of this, I'm leaving this in yesterday because tomorrow never comes. We only worry about today, right? I don't put on tomorrow. I only focus on today because tomorrow may be the day I go get the bagel and I go to Burger King and get the little tater tots, right? That might be the day. But another thing that has helped me in those relapse times, I don't call it relapse. I call it carb cycling. That works for me. So if I have a moment that I ate a couple days, okay, that was my carb cycle. I let that go and I get up quickly, right? And I
Right.
go back into it. So it's all about perspective. It's all about how you look at it. Is this a failure moment? Are you in relapse, or does your body just crave a carb or whatever? Just this moment, you did it. Now you got to adjust from it. The scale gonna go up, boom, make it go back down, right? So that's
Ah,
how I handle those relapse.
oh man. Oh man. Whitney, I just, you know, we could talk another hour or two. That's how I feel. But our time has come to an end. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and spending it with me here on Get the Backstory Live. You have just dropped an hour full of golden nuggets. Right. If you're at home, wherever you are, I hope you were writing. I hope you were listening. I hope you were hearing. I hope you pick up her book, Walking Out the Casket. Is that no, Walking Out the Coffin?
Walking out the coffin. It's
Walking
available.
Out the Coffin. That's right. Walking Out the Coffin. Look her up. Check her out. This sister is on fire. Whitney Wheeler. Yes, the before and after that tells the whole story. Whitney, thank you. Thank you so much. We're certainly blessed by your presence tonight.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
All right. Good night. And that's it for Get the Backstory for tonight. See you soon.
What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story.